Video, we're going to be talking about why you can't return an equatable. Yeah, here's the function here, function get equatable, and it returns an equatable. We return num1. We know strings and integers and all primitive types by Swift are all conforming to equatable, but we can't return this as an equatable. Why is this? Okay, so let's, before we dive into the deeper part of it, let's create another protocol and then say get item, and here we're going to say, we want to say function, obviously. Here we're going to say return self, okay? And then we're going to create a struct, and we're going to say tester1 implements tester, and then we're going to say get item, and then we're just going to say self here. Now let's say a function here, say get tester, and we're going to say then it returns a tester, right? And then we're going to return then tester1, and we're going to see whether this compiles. Everything is fine. See, we're using self with inside of this one protocol, and we all seem to be fine right now, okay? Because we can see here tester1 is returning itself, all right? And this is what this is referring to. Self is referring to the concrete class, the concrete type that implements the protocol itself. So this is saying, hey, this is what type you're going to be in the future. But when it comes down to returning protocols here that use self in this manner, it's already clear what type it's going to be. However, let's just scrub this away and remove this. And now let's have a look at the implementation of equatable. And here you can see it's saying, hey, self is equal to self, right? This is the equatable part of it. The infix operator is going to get them to compare the left-hand side to the right-hand side and to return true or false. So, but what this is saying is that the LHS and the RHS, that they both have to implement exactly the same type. Now, and this is basically where the problem is that you cannot use equatable as a type, must be written as any equatable, all right? And so this, you can return an equatable, but you've got to return any equatable because it needs to be worked out based upon the actual fundamental type that's being returned, all right? And so, but the answer to this is basically because it is mentioning self inside of it, and it's not until the return method actually happens is it will know what equatable type is being returned. Now we can go into this a lot further, all right? But I just wanted to highlight to you why you can't do this now. It might seem weird, but we're going to need these type of things in the future. I'm going to need for you to understand these things in the future is that we can return protocols, all right? But what we can't return are protocols with some form of associated type inside of it. So let's write another protocol here, and we call it tester again. And here we're going to give it an associated type and type of item, and this type is going to be equatable. And then we're going to say get item, and this is going to say item here. So here is our tester protocol, and we'll say tester1 implements tester, and then we'll say get item, some equatable here. So it's forcing us now, right? Well, it's actually helping us now to say here, and we say get item, right? But what we could do is say type alias item is equal to int, right? And then we can say here item, and we can return this because we have already predefined what type we're going to return. Now, obviously, if we then say we're going to return string, then we cannot return this because it's not matching the type alias. However, if we return 1 right now, then we are all okay. However, when we start saying get tester once again, and we say then tester, and we create a tester 1, you can see here that we can't do this because it has associated types inside of it. And in the function declaration, we haven't filled that information in. We haven't filled what this item is going to be. Now, we could put this item with inside of our the parameters here, right? But then you wouldn't, if you just want to be able to return a protocol as is, then you're basically saying to the compiler, we're going to tell you, we just want to have a variable that conforms to tester. All right, and this is why you can say any tester, or in this sense, you can say some tester as well, that they are both allowed. But I'm not here to get into this any and this some. I'm just showing you why you can't return it. And the reason you can't return it is because of these associated types, that there needs to be a concrete type with this definition, and it needs to, the concrete type needs to be there on the implementation, as in the implementation here, and it also needs to be there if it's not clear at the implementation. It also needs to be there, excuse me, on the actual usage as well. However, in this scenario, when we just say tester is equal to get tester, we can see here that we are just getting some tester. So this is saying, hey, I am, look, say here, get item, and now we've got some equatable here. And when we look here, you can see that we've got some item here, but this is an associated type. So we're managing to get around this a lot easier. So when you ever see like these compile time errors and you've got a protocol there, dive deeper into the protocol, and if the protocol doesn't have any associated types, doesn't have like self that isn't totally apparent in there, if the compiler cannot work out what it is, then this is where you're going to have problems. Now, I made another video talking about when not to use generics or not use associated types, right? And this is also an indication for you to when you should not use protocols and generics and or associated types, because this is going to cause you a whole headache if you are a junior developer and you need to understand and get around this, because you'll spend days trying to work out how to do this and you won't know. So there's a time and a place to use generics, there's a time and a place to use all these things, but it's really important that you learn about this stuff before you start diving into Swift UI, even though Swift UI is supposed to be super declarative now and easy for you. But on the first second that you start learning Swift UI, you're going to see this and you're going to go, what does this mean? I have no idea. And then you're going to have to skip to generics and skip to this, and you're going to go, I have no idea. So I thought this video, why can't you return an equatable, would give you a very quick insight to it. And so on. And this is it. If this is the first video you've watched from my playlist, then I would suggest you just go back about 10 videos and just keep watching from there, and you'll have more of an understanding from this. But I wanted to make another video, and but then I worked out I have to make this video before I can start making that video. With that said, keep watching, because this is literally just here to fill the boxes in future problems, so I don't have to explain it, so I can just refer to it as well. With that said, thank you very much for watching. I hope that you've got something out of this video. I hope that you've learned something, and if you haven't learned something, I hope you've managed just to watch it to the end without having an absolute brain freeze. Okay, it's difficult for me to explain, but I can get it in my head. But it's also very difficult to explain without confusing people incredibly badly. All right. With that said, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and also if you've got any questions, please don't put them in the comment section below, because it's too confusing. I'd rather just you watch the next videos. But if you just want to say thank you or give your feedback on stuff like that, then please obviously do that. Let's start a simple conversation in the comment section below. With that said, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao, ciao, and goodbye.